Coming to you from the Illegal Shift Studio, it's another episode of the One More and I'm Out of Here podcast. And I'm not going to lie, I need a nap. I'm just in a mood like that. You ever get like that?
Oh, totally.
I just need a nap. And it just hit me like 10 minutes before I came here.
I feel like I need a nap every day as I'm getting older.
Oh God.
I used to look and be like, I could never take a nap. Now I long for a nap.
I mean, I had a pretty full day today, did a whole bunch of stuff. I've got a couple more things to do after the podcast. And so what sucks about it is I know like when the podcast is over, I can think in my head, like, I'm just going to go home. It's not that far. I'm going to lay down and I'll be done for the night.
But you're not.
But no, that's not going to happen. The wife called me on the way here. Hey, we got to move this, and Hassler's got to come over and do that. And we got to, I mean, like, oh my God.
It never ends.
I'm like, this is what I did not want to hear today.
Never ends.
By the way,
I apologize. I apologize to you for being late today. It was my fault. Everybody blames you. Typically, when I have to push the podcast back, they blame you typically.
Well, I certainly hope our viewers in the chats will respond accordingly.
This is
because they always like to throw that, lay that at my feet.
This is completely on me.
There you go.
My nephew's in town from college. Me, my brother, my nephew were hanging out, bullshitting, and I was like, "Oh shit, I gotta go." So I apologize for the late arrival.
Didn't you tell me the other day that you have taken over responsibility for cutting the grass here at?
Well, not yet. I don't have the riding mower.
Shea Kiefer.
I don't have the riding mower here yet. So my guy who cuts the grass,
is there a mower on the premises?
Not one that's running currently.
Okay.
But I got a guy.
I'll let you slide a little bit.
I got a guy. He was supposed to.
Where's your grass cutting guy?
He was supposed to come.
He's slacking.
So hopefully tomorrow before the rain hits.
Your grass is in need of.
Oh, it's definitely in need.
Some attention.
I'm well aware.
All right.
Now, once I get Jill's dad's riding mower over here, yes, I will be taking responsibility for that.
We have good news.
Thank you for calling me out.
I do what I can. Just an observation I made.
Oh,
on
dude,
the way in.
I walked out today. I was like, motherfucker, this looks like shit. And of course,
well, with the weather we've been having, that's what happens.
Of course, our friends on each side of us that we know,
their yards look freshly cut.
They both cut it, but they both cut it right before the rain came the last time. So we literally feel like we've been living in Seattle.
Well, that's just it. It gets so wet you can't get a mower on it. And then, it just like if there's a small, maybe hour and a half, 2 hour window where you can cut it, and then it starts pouring down rain.
You got to take advantage.
Yeah,
you got to take advantage when you can.
So
I did not.
I did in my yard last Friday, so I'm marginal today.
Well, I mean, you cut yours down.
I do cut. It looks like a fairway,
like a fucking putting green.
You could hit golf balls off my front
you
yard.
Totally can.
It would be nice. You would love it. But we have good news that the GoFundMe pages for this killer, Hinton, have been taken down. And not only that, GoFundMe sent an apology letter to the head of the FOP here in Cincinnati, Ken Kober. So that is a positive aspect. But what I didn't realize was that there was like a dozen of them.
Yeah, there were a ton.
How can you have more than one GoFundMe? Is that... look, I have never even looked at GoFundMe. I have no idea how that website works. I've never sent GoFundMe money to anyone. But is it common to have more than one GoFundMe page for?
If different people set them up. So if you have multiple people that are organizing it and setting it up, then yeah, you can have multiple.
I didn't know that.
What I don't like about GoFundMe anyway, outside of this fucking diatribe of shit, is they take a pretty good stake out of the money that's raised. I'm not sure if you're aware of that. I know
a percentage.
Yeah, and it's pretty hefty.
10%?
No, I think it's like more like 20 to 25%.
Really? It costs that much to run their website?
Like, it's a lot. And don't quote me on that, because when we had our fundraiser for our buddy Rob,
yeah,
I didn't want to go through GoFundMe because they
take a healthy cut for themselves.
They're taking a cut, and I can't remember exactly what it was, but it's too much. In my opinion, it was too much to be like, no, that money still needs to go to the family. Fuck that. But I'll read this article real quick. So I don't have the image or the screenshot, but the Ohio Fraternal Order of Police president for the whole state of Ohio put essentially a demand, I guess is probably a good term.
Yeah. Well, when you sent me that press release, and it just so happened it was about an hour after I got off the air. I believe it was on Tuesday. Was it Monday or Tuesday? It doesn't matter. But anyway, I was already off the air, and I was saying, damn, I wish I would have had that when I was on the air, because I definitely would have talked about it. But he's sort of the one that sounded the alarm on this and said, look what's going on. And he's like, this is ridiculous.
Yeah.
We are totally against it.
So GoFundMe would pressure down on police officers that were shot. And that's where this all came around. Police officer gets shot, people wanted to raise money, GoFundMe wouldn't cover it. But now you have I'm going to say it, and I'm
GoFundMe won't allow a fundraiser for a cop that gets shot or wounded in the line of duty.
There were a lot of issues. That's if you read through that statement, multiple police officers throughout the country, they got denied the GoFundMe.
How about that?
So that's why this president, the FOP president of Ohio, put his shit out. But this article reads, GoFundMe has apologized to Cincinnati FOP for allowing postings to raise money in support of the man accused of intentionally killing a Hamilton County deputy. Rodney Hinton Jr. was charged with aggravated murder. We know that. We've covered that part. The correspondence that our buddy Kenny Kober, who was a member of my police and fire motorcycle club, and I know Kenny very, very well. And after the dust settles here, we will definitely be having him on here. But it says, Dear President Kober, my name is Emily. I'm reaching out from GoFundMe regarding Rodney Hinton Jr. and attempted misuse of the GoFundMe platform. I'm deeply saddened at the death of Deputy Henderson, and on behalf of the entire GoFundMe team, we wanted to express our deepest condolences to the Ohio law enforcement community for your loss. I was notified earlier today that our team removed a number of campaigns that violated our company's terms of service related to raising money for individuals charged with violent crimes. GoFundMe's terms of service prohibit fundraisers for the legal defense of violent crimes. Consistent with this long-standing policy, any fundraisers for the legal defense of someone charged with a violent crime are removed from the platform, and any money donated to that campaign is fully refunded to the person who sent it. I can assure you that there will be zero tolerance for this type of behavior on our platform. If you have any questions about the legitimacy of a fundraiser on our platform, or if you come across a campaign that you believe should be removed, please send it to me directly. You can consider me your direct line to GoFundMe, and we will resolve the matter as quickly as possible. Once again, Deputy Henderson and his family are in our thoughts and prayers. Sincerely, Emily Barson, Director of Policy and Engagement.
Well, I'm glad that they owned it the way they did, and I think that's a well-constructed letter. But I would still have criticism for them for allowing this to go through in the first place.
To let it happen.
I don't know how their operation runs. When these, don't you have to, when you set it up, don't you have to give a reason why you're setting it up? Don't you have to tell them that? Don't you have to provide names? This is the fundraiser is for this individual. Don't they have someone there who can at least do a news search and find out what's going on? And it seems to me they ought to have safeguards against that sort of thing in the first place.
I personally have never physically set one up. As I was researching it for Rob, I'm like, I don't think that's the way we want to go. A-Town Natty said there's another one set up now. He just sent it to CPD to report it. So
for Hinton,
yeah. God. So you had a couple. You had one for the kid.
Yeah,
and then one for.
I think that one's allowed to stay up though, isn't it? Did I hear that earlier
for
today?
Funeral expenses? I think that one is allowed to stay. I believe, but don't quote me on it. But then the other one were for legal fees for Rodney Hinton Jr. That piece of shit. So the fact that they retracted, they came back, but it took the state FOP to put something out on social media and send an email or whatever, however they got with GoFundMe, wherever the hell that is. But the fact that they responded pretty quick, because I sent you.
Yeah, no, I'm going to give credit to GoFundMe.
I think I sent you that Monday. You were on the air Monday. I think I sent
was it Monday? Okay,
and today's Wednesday, so yeah. They got to it pretty quick.
I'm going to give them credit for coming out and owning it the way they did. So, and that's, I mean, that's the way things like that ought to be handled. And you apologize. You say it's never going to happen again. And if it does happen again, we're going to be all over, going to be on it like white on rice. So I think that's a pretty good thing.
For the people that aren't around here, I want to play these 2 videos real quick, just to give them, and then we can move on to.
Is this the one from Room A?
Whatever else, yeah.
Yeah. Well, he was Hinton was in court yesterday for a bond hearing, and there was another huge show of support from local law enforcement that was just filled the room at the we call it the Hamilton County Justice Center, and I thought the hearing was interesting because the prosecution laid out an interesting string of facts, I think, when it comes to why they think this guy ought to be held. And one of the facts they talked about was how they were able to trace his movements from the time he left the police headquarters where he was at, watching the video of his son getting gunned down, to the time he went to Clifton, which is not that far away. But that we were able to track, because Cincinnati has a pretty good system of surveillance cameras around, which a lot of people don't know about, and they're able to.
Yeah, you can't take a piss. You can't take a piss outside in Cincinnati without somebody seeing it,
or
somebody's laughing at your little wiener.
Yeah, or bang a guy in the ass after he's been sucking you off. I mean,
and yeah, that is correct.
I'm told people have observed such things.
That has happened.
But they were able to track him from where he left the police office up to the Clifton area where this murder took place. And so they also indicated that there's abundant video of this guy operating the car, stopping the car, following traffic rules and regulations, and then stepping on the gas. And there's actually video of the moment when he hit Deputy Henderson. So I thought that was interesting that they laid out that much information, and I guess I don't know.
Well, because they're going for an insanity.
Yeah, I don't know what kind of judge Tyrone Yates has been since he's been on the bench. I knew what kind of council member he was when he was on city council, and he was pretty much of a buffoon then. I think he has changed his ways a little bit, but he said it no bond, which is a good thing.
Yeah. So the racial tensions here locally, and I'm sure it happens. And again, we're hitting this because it's so close to us. But we see and we hear, with hanging out and talking with Eric all the time, all the breakdowns that he does. It happens everywhere, and I get that. But we're hitting it because it's close to us. The racial tensions and the stupid social media posts. We need to riot. We need to show, and I said it earlier today on Fox News. We need to show these motherfuckers who's in charge. Those types of hate social media posts to try to incite shit only leads into this type of behavior. So I'm gonna play this. This is from the courtroom today. And I could stop it there. I mean, for the audio listeners.
Yeah.
If you weren't watching, a bunch of sheriffs in courtroom A. A ruckus kind of starts. Somebody is saying, a guy's saying, I want my brother to see me. I want my brother to see me. Which, come to find out, it's not even his brother. Actually, it's just a boy.
Yeah. Well, the good thing is it never extended to anything beyond what you just saw right there. It was a verbal altercation, and then
But the post that I played was from somebody trying to incite some shit, where it says, he was just trying to see his brother, and I'm paraphrasing, but then it had eye for an eye, like an eyeball emoji for another eyeball emoji, eye for an eye, and then black fist and all this shit. And it's like, what the fuck, man? So with that, I'm glad nothing ensued.
Well, the thing is, the calls for an uprising or for people to demonstrate in the streets or any calls for violence, thankfully, to this point, here in the Cincinnati and the Hamilton County, the Southwest Ohio area, none of those have gained any traction yet. So we haven't seen anything. This outburst at the Justice Center was probably the most dramatic thing we've seen so far. But it continues. It's not just here, but this story is going out across the country right now, and of course, people are reading it completely wrong. They're making up their own sets of facts. I've seen multiple posts, where people talk about, the kid was unarmed, shot in the back, running from cops, all that kind of stuff. And so, there's just the fact pattern is completely wrong. And so you've got all these, you've got a growing body of people out there who see only that, and they're, coalescing together in support of this, of this dude that mowed down this officer.
Yeah, and you've got keyboard warriors that think that they know everything and they know all the facts, which none of us do outside of the authorities that are actually conducting the investigation. Now, the little bits that have been released, you can make your own assumption. Now, hopefully, if you're making the right assumption. But when the investigation is all said and done on the shooting, for one, and then obviously the mowing over of Larry, which is just completely unfortunate, all of that's going to come to light. But you have all this uprising in social media just pushing and trying to throw a narrative out there to create chaos.
Right.
But I have these two videos I'm gonna play. Two black men. For the audio listeners, these are black dudes having their take and their opinions on it. And I felt that this was very poignant for our area right now.
This is what y'all fight for? This is what the power to the black people fight for, huh? This is one of the reasons why the black community as a collective, because it's not all.
This guy's got a picture of Roddy Hitton Jr.
People like this who crash out because they have a criminal 18-year-old son who got killed by a cop. Then the father wanted to react and crash out and go and kill a cop who had nothing to do with the 18-year-old at all. Had nothing to do with that situation. He was a retired cop just directing traffic. Probably didn't have a gun, but I'm pretty sure he had a family.
Yeah.
But you wanted to crash out and you failed your son. Now your son is dead. Now you in jail. You finna have a hard time in jail, big dog. But I guarantee you still got black people over there doing their GoFundMe. Investing in their GoFundMe, defending this shit, talking about, yeah, that's what you're supposed to do. That's what you're supposed to do. But yet y'all still over here talking about and claiming oppression. This is why, as a collective, the black community is trash. That's why people don't like to take y'all serious. Because of shit like this. How can people take y'all serious when y'all doing shit like this? It's crazy to me, dog.
I think it makes a good point. I think it makes several good points.
This is not a black and white issue, but people are making it a black and white issue.
Yeah.
This is a criminal, whether he had a record before or not, a criminal that ran, who was asleep in a car with three other dudes, which is weird because I would never go to sleep in a car with you unless we absolutely had to, and then just cuddle to stay warm. That's the only way I would do it. I'm sorry, I digress. But no, you had four dudes sleeping in a car. Cops show up. They bolt. Car stolen. One dude has a gun. He trips, falls. They hear a gun. He picks it up and continues to run. Had he just kept running, guess what? We probably wouldn't be having these two fucking podcasts.
Probably.
With this subject matter. You know what I mean? So it's just so fucking dumb. And so you have an African-American man who just posted that on TikTok. I don't know where he's from. I don't know if he's from Cincinnati or if he's not, but it's obviously, I mean, it's gone, like you said, it's hitting national networks.
Right.
So I got
but
this,
it doesn't matter where he's from. His take was right on the money.
So I got this other one. And Dan, I think you'll like this one. You haven't seen this one yet.
Are upset, and I'm talking about the people of the melanin, are upset because these cops are mugging him, upset with him, responding in solidarity because this fool killed one of their police officers. This dad, whoo, Jesus, help us. This dad raised a dirtbag who was fleeing police in a stolen vehicle. He goes on they chase him out of the vehicle. He's running. They're giving him commands, telling him to drop the gun. He has a gun. Boom, boom, boom. Shooting occurs. The police are claiming that he pointed the gun at them. Dad gets access to the body-worn camera. After he watches the body-worn camera, which I would argue probably will show a justifiable shooting, he then takes his vehicle and rams into an officer who had nothing to do with this incident and kills him, and essentially also losing his life. Now, as a father, I understand the hurt, the pain it would cause you to lose your son. But at some point, you got to take accountability that you raised a boy who in a stolen vehicle with a gun in his possession. The boy's only 18 years old, so he don't have a legal right to own a gun. Now, the body camera doesn't show everything, but the body camera will show in part that there was a stolen vehicle and there was a pursuit that took place and a shooting. Roll the clip.
In the deputy's death, he was taken to University Hospital in critical condition. Hours later, the Hamilton County Sheriff's deputy dies. The CPD homicide unit investigating both the death of the deputy killed today and the death of the 18-year-old shot by police.
I can assure you, as the chief of police for Cincinnati, I will ensure you transparency and a thorough and accurate investigation.
Look like we do have a body-worn camera. Let's see. This will give me a little more clarity. Now, I'll say this. If the cops are wrong, that still doesn't give you the right to run over some random cop because you mad. And watch the full press conference. I just get emotional when I think about these men, these innocent men and women who get killed for no reason. The man just retired and he got ran over because his son wanted to be a thug. Pretty much what happens is you see him when he get out of the car, he had a gun in his hand. They show the gun on the ground in his hand. And then he takes off running. Now,
Well, that's a guy who obviously has a podcast, and he's got the facts. He took time to read what the facts were, and he's got the facts, and he's relaying his facts to the people that watch his podcast, and I give him great credit for that.
Yeah, when I saw that, I was like, you know what, I felt like we needed to show that because I don't know how you feel, Dan, but personally, I'm afraid what's going to fucking happen, what's going to transpire here in the next, month, 2, 3, because this is not going away.
No, it's not going away, but I am going to hold out hope that the truth is getting out there and that the false narratives about this, that's the problem.
It's a false narrative.
It's the false narratives that spread about this that really are going to anger people in the wrong direction. And somehow to suggest that, number one, Cincinnati police were wrong for what they did at this scene, for behaving the way they did in this scenario, that narrative cannot stand. And then the other narrative that cannot stand is the one that somehow this father is a vigilante hero for exacting vengeance for the death of his son, and none of that is even close to being true. Chief Scott Hughes of the Hamilton Township Police Department is first of all, he's a great guy.
That was a good one.
That was a good one.
That was a good one.
And he knew Debbie Henderson, and so he's been seeing all this stuff going on. And here's what he posted on his X feed. I believe it was last night or earlier, but it doesn't matter. But this is what he posted on his X feed. He said, "Let's set the record straight. Ryan Hinton wasn't killed for being a stolen car. He was shot because officers perceived an immediate deadly threat, a threat created by the loaded firearm with an extended magazine he carried as he ran from police. On May 1, Cincinnati police responded to a stolen vehicle complaint. 4 individuals fled on foot. One of them, 18-year-old Ryan Hinton, was armed. Body camera footage captures an officer shouting, "He's got a gun," before shots were fired. A gun with an extended magazine was recovered at the scene. The next day, his father, Rodney Hinton Jr., intentionally ran over and killed a Hamilton County Sheriff's Deputy, Larry Henderson, while he was directing traffic. 2 days, 2 violent acts. And yet now some are debating whether the gun was truly pointed at officers. Rewinding footage like it's a football replay, second-guessing decisions made in milliseconds. Let's talk facts. It takes just 0.25 seconds to turn and shoot, faster than the blink of an eye. That's about how long an officer has to recognize a threat, make a decision, and act. Waiting for a perfect visual confirmation can be fatal. Officers don't get to pause and analyze. They act to survive. Critics argue that being in a stolen car or simply having a gun isn't a death sentence, and they're right. It's not. But the game changes when a suspect flees with a gun and appears to present an imminent threat. Officers are forced to respond to what they see, hear, and believe in that split second. In the NFL, 1220 high-definition cameras cover every inch of the end zone, and referees still miss calls. In Major League Baseball, umpires miss so many balls and strikes that they test robot umpires in spring training games. And that's with perfect lighting, multiple replays, zero threat to life. So what does that tell us? Even with dozens of camera angles, trained professionals still miss these things because cameras don't always capture what a human sees, feels, or focuses on in real time. Now imagine a single police officer under extreme stress in a rapidly evolving situation, making life or death decisions without replays, without multiple angles, and without a second chance. A body-worn camera records one narrow view. It doesn't show the officer's focus of attention, doesn't show the fear, the urgency, or the survival instinct in play. It's a tool. The suspect's family has hired a private investigator. That is their right. But we have to ask, are they trained in human performance science, in police tactics, in perception and responses under stress? Police actions should be reviewed, but they must be reviewed fairly by people who understand what they're looking at. Let me be clear. The people who hate law enforcement aren't going to believe any of this. They've already chosen outrage over objectivity. And I'm okay with that. I'm not speaking to them. I'm speaking to the people in the middle, the ones who want to understand, the ones who still believe facts matter, the ones who haven't worn the badge but respect those who do. Deputy Henderson was a hero. His murder reminds us of the dangers officers face even when doing something as routine as directing traffic. And the officers involved in Ryan Hinton's shooting, they did exactly what they are trained to do. They recognized a deadly threat. They made a split-second decision to protect themselves and others. And they did it right. And I think that's something that's been lost in this conversation. Not only did that police officer act to protect himself, but he acted to protect others.
Yes.
You know, you got a guy who's running from the cops, carrying a loaded firearm, round in the chamber. There could have been any other number of people in that area that could have wound up being hurt or killed by this guy. So he says, the chief says, let's stop demanding perfection in chaos. Let's stop pretending that video is the whole truth. Let's start acknowledging that reasonable officers make reasonable decisions in high-stress situations. And let's stand behind them when they do. Stay safe. And those are the words of the Hamilton Township Police Chief, Scott Hughes. And I thank him for that And I can't wait to have that guy on our show and possibly here on the podcast.
Yeah.
On one more, and I'm out of here.
Yeah, and with that, the audio listeners, there's a picture of the gun that was retrieved. There was one in the chamber, one in the tube, and then an extended mag. And keep in mind the fact that he's 18 years old, not legally allowed to carry a pistol, or not able to carry or purchase one, rather, but obviously not legally able to carry one. And I think he killed it. I mean, he hit the nail right on the head. You have to think about what these guys and gals that are out there wearing the badge, what they have to do. Me being a fireman is different because, yeah, I'm in harm's way occasionally here and there, but I can see a fire and be like, okay, I know what's going on here. They're dealing with people who you get 4 dudes that jump out of a car and start running like gazelles. One trips, you hear a gun hit the ground. You hear metal, you see it's a gun. And the fact that he picked it back up, had he just kept running, again, we might not even be here.
Probably, most likely. And it was a series of bad decisions on the 18-year-old's part, and it led to him getting shot. Our buddy Zeke Arkham, who we asked to be on the show today, but he's got a doctor's appointment. So Zeke, good luck with that, my friend.
Hopefully his doctor didn't win a Super Bowl. We love Zeke. I was hoping he was going to be able to be here today.
I mean, what is with everyone going to the doctor? Our buddy Dan Varner had to go to the doctor yesterday. And then now Zeke's got to go to the doctor's appointment today. What's up with that? So Zeke wrote this. And again, this is in response to all the nonsense. And the word that he likes to use is foolywang. That he is seeing out there, through all these, stupid numbnuts who think that this guy's some kind of hero. So Zeke writes this. So a kid is in a stolen car, gets tracked down by police, gets ordered to stop, decides to run, has a gun on him, which he may or may not have pointed at the cops, and gets shot by the cops. Completely avoidable situation. So his father then decides to run over a random cop in some sort of act of revenge for his son. And the same hood rat, low IQ, savage black folks who cheered Carmelo Anthony are cheering the father as some sort of hero. He says, bruh, can I have black fatigue? Because I'm seriously sick and fucking tired of evil people being propped up as some sort of hero by the same community over and over again. And those are the words of our buddy Zeke Arkham. And I think he's 100% right.
Yeah, he said 100%.
Oh,
he nails it every time.
Yeah.
Now. He's so real. Like
but he's echoing what the first video we saw was, because that guy was talking to the same people. He says, you want to be taken seriously, then stop doing this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And Zeke is saying the same thing. He's tired of seeing, and I mean, really, if you did a deep dive into it, you'd probably find out that it's the same small group of people that want to be agitators and keep throwing this stuff out there. And sadly, there's people who pay attention to that crap.
I'm gonna put this up here, and I want your opinion on how you read this. But our buddy Cincy and Andrew would lose his shit if he knew. I was
for
posting.
God's sake!
But I want your opinion.
All right.
We've all seen the scenarios where justification is up for debate. This isn't one of them. What's that mean? Cincy, what's it mean? Tell me, please. Hit the chats again. What the fuck does that mean?
Well, I can read that, and I can analyze that as Cincy 513 is agreeing with us.
Okay.
That this is this situation. I have never thought that.
He said you're paying attention to it. Yeah, we're paying attention to it because we're trying to honor a fucking great law enforcement officer who was loved by many, a great coworker, and you have the other side that are trying to celebrate this guy that's in an orange jumpsuit as a hero. That's where it's hard.
Well,
for me.
I hope that's what Cincy.
I'm hoping too.
Is saying.
I'm hoping too because it's very hard, and especially like when he comes hard in the chats, it's hard. It's hard for me to know where he's at. But if you are, I mean, it was a senseless loss of life. Period.
I agree with that, but am I sitting here saying, is there still room for new evidence to come to light? I think so.
Sure, absolutely.
The investigation is only in its its beginning stages.
The shooting part, the fact that Larry's gone, there's going to be
there's no debate there.
There's no debate there.
Yeah,
that's what I'm trying to figure out where he's going.
But I hopefully by saying what he said that I think he's agreeing with us. And I have never I've never thought that police video, whether it was the dash cam video back in the day, and do they still have dash cam videos in some of the cars and the body cameras? Yeah. So I think a lot of times
typically, and I believe Cincinnati's the same way, I believe they have it. As soon as you switch the lights on, the camera goes on.
Yeah. So,
but there's like a 10-second delay, or
if these Cincinnati,
not a delay, but a 10-second ahead of time.
If these cruisers that they were in, these Cincinnati police had dash cam videos, I'd be interested to see those videos because I think that can add some clarity to the situation because the video, the body camera video that we see, the camera's jumping all around in it, and it makes it very difficult to discern.
Cincy, I don't mean to offend you. I'm just saying 9 times out of 10, anything you say is pretty much against what we're saying.
Yeah.
So I'm coming at it, a little bit gun shy. So that's why I'm saying.
But be careful, Cincy 513, because you're sort of giving yourself away that you actually do have some brain cells that function, and you're not going to be able to fall back on that as an excuse.
We're glad you're here
for when for some of the stupid stuff that you put out there. But if we can we can find common ground on this issue, I think that's a good thing. But again, I think the cameras, the body cameras, and the dash cam cameras have never been the end-all, be-all when it comes to police investigations because exactly of what Chief Scott Hughes said. Because those cameras don't show the area of focus. They don't show, how fast your heart is beating. They don't show, how you're trying to process all this information in a real-time scenario, and you've got split seconds to make decisions.
Our buddy Tim Vogel said the guy picked up a gun after he dropped it. The old saying, you don't put on a condom unless you're ready to fuck. Tim, no truer words.
I can't argue with that.
You can't argue with that. Give a shout out to our buddy John who made our thumbnail, which we haven't even hit that story yet. We will. We're going to hit it here soon. But obviously, this topic has just been so close to us, and Dan and I are going to the visitation tomorrow, and we got the procession on Friday, so it's all very fresh. So apologize for if we misled on the description. We got some other shit that we're going to hit, but our buddy John made our thumbnail. We appreciate you, John. I love you. I tell you that every Friday, every 2 Fridays off a week, 2 Fridays off a week. I love you, John. You're the best. Let's see. Where do we go? Why don't we do our ad read? We'll do 2 ad reads, actually. If you can dial your shit up.
I'm ready whenever you are.
All right. So this is one of our gracious sponsors, Murphy Engraving. So listen to this tantalizing voice of Dan Carroll.
Well, I do what I can. Hi, everyone. Dan Carroll here. Time to tell you about a great new sponsor for the One More and I'm Out of Here podcast. It's Murphy Engraving. Murphy Engraving is the place to go for your business, industrial, and personal engraving needs. Take a look at the Murphy Engraving page on Facebook, and you're going to see all kinds of unique items that really seem to take on a life of their own because they've been customized with an image, a name, or a logo, and all of it just really beautifully done. The acrylic sports awards that light up are especially creative and very cool. The customized bottles of bourbon, those are my personal favorite. And wait till you see what they can do with items that are made out of wood. The next time you want to recognize someone special or you're looking for that one-of-a-kind gift, you'll be glad you checked out Murphy Engraving. And a bonus, you're supporting a local family-owned business run by brothers Brian and Kevin, who is a lifetime firefighter and Air Force vet. At Murphy Engraving, they turn the ordinary into the extraordinary, and at Murphy Engraving, we are American-made. So there you go. Great new sponsors of the One Morning Out of Here podcast, Murphy Engraving. We also had opportunity yesterday to hang out with our buddy Dan Varner. Did you ever put that video out that we shot yesterday?
Yeah, I put it out on Instagram as a reel, and it hit Facebook as a reel.
Yeah?
I couldn't do it as a story, but it went as a reel.
So we got like 50,000 views already? How many?
We did have a bunch.
100,000?
I'll have to look.
2 million?
No, I mean, we're probably not there.
Okay.
We're probably not there.
Well, go find it. Go find that video we did with Dan Varner yesterday. And the reason we're doing that is because we got a big event coming up this weekend. It is the Varner Foundation big fundraiser that is going to happen at Belterra Park Casino. Is that right? Is it Belterra Park? It's just called Belterra Park.
Belterra Park.
Belterra Park. And the Varner Foundation for Children and Families. You know, we were talking earlier about the GoFundMe page. And Jason was talking about how GoFundMe, when they collect money, they take a cut for themselves off the top. And you know what? A lot of charities do the exact same thing. And sometimes those cuts can be 30%, 40%, sometimes even high. I mean, the really bad ones, it will take 70 or 80 or 90% and just send a little dribble of money. So some charities don't send any money at all to the people they're supposed to be helping. But that is not the case with the Varner Foundation. The Varner Foundation for Children and Families, it's involved in foster care. And so let's say you've got a family that wants to get involved in foster care. And they do it. Look, they get a little stipend. I mean, a little bit of money to help take care of these kids. No one is getting rich off of taking care of foster kids. It's because they've got a special place in their heart and their home for a kid that needs help. And so the Varner Foundation comes in and helps out. Years ago, Dan Varner found out that a large percentage of the families that get involved in foster care, they drop out after doing it more than 1 year. 1 year. And more than half of the people who do it, they just drop out because it's too much of a strain on their resources. So that's where the Varner Foundation comes in. Let's say you've got, you need an extra bed in the house. Maybe the roof is leaking. You got a prescription that you haven't been able to get filled. Well, that's where the Varner Foundation comes in. And a lot of times a single phone call gets the job done. And those families get help. And those kids wind up having, a safe and reliable place where they can stay. And again, the money that goes to the Varner Foundation, and this is one of the reasons why we talk so highly about it, is because 100% of the money that goes to the Varner Foundation doesn't, there's not a slice that goes for an office. There's not a slice that goes for someone's salary. There's not a slice that goes for, a travel budget or anything like that. Every dime that you donate to the Varner Foundation goes to the mission. So you can help make a difference in a child's life today. Donate to the Varner Foundation. That is the varnerfoundation.org, and make a difference in a kid's life today. Big fundraiser coming up Saturday night in Belterra Park.
Yeah, Saturday's going to be fun.
Yeah, I can't wait.
Big Jim and the Slims.
And I'm honored that he asked me to be. This is like, I normally don't get invited back to events, like I'll host an event, I'll MC an event, and it'll be like 1 year. Then the next year I'll be like, hey, you want me to come back? Hey, Dan, thanks. It was great last year, but
I know all our listeners are shocked right now. I've never been invited back. That's hilarious.
A couple of times. When I got to be the Burgermeister at the Oktoberfest. I got to do that a couple of years. Did you go to that? Did you ever go to that with us?
I have a picture of you passed out in the car.
There's a picture of me, you, and Short, and I think Hellman.
I have a picture in my phone of you passed out in the driver's seat. Paula's driving.
We've got giant, steins of beer.
Yeah, that's a great picture. But
you didn't go to the second year with
us.
I
have the better picture. I have the better picture. You passed out.
How much fun was that?
Oh, it's a blast.
Unbelievable.
And I think you did a bang up excellent job. You absolutely killed it.
That's one thing about being here in Cincinnati. Such great German heritage. And if you've never been to an Oktoberfest, And you don't have to go to the big one downtown. This was a smaller one from the Germania Society. And, they're out there in Coleraine Township. And man, what unbelievable. I mean, those people know how to have a great time.
Jonathan Bates is getting ahead of us. He's getting ahead of us.
About what?
And I like it. He goes, why aren't you guys covering the Ohio case of the raccoon driving a car in possession of a meth pipe?
And we're on that already.
Jonathan.
You want to dial that up?
Jonathan, I got it. I just got to find it. Where's it
All
at?
right.
Jonathan, I got it. See, great minds think alike.
I actually saw that story on Fox News this morning.
How fucking funny is that? Oh,
At least it wasn't a skunk.
we may hit an ad here. I hope we don't. We may hit an ad, but I'm going to play this and we'll see what happens.
Where's your dad?
In his office triplet. He's just getting home. Everybody good, just one finger.
Oh. Hey.
What?
I should
Yeah.
not come here.
Hello?
The raccoon has her meth pipe.
As what?
Oh my God.
Her meth pipe.
You gotta be
He's
sure.
playing with the meth pipe
Hello?
right now.
That raccoon, man, is
No,
always
don't reach
bogarting
for
the
it.
goods.
That's evidence
Where
now.
you're at.
Well, I don't want him to have
Well,
that.
that's why I'm going to
Don't
do
want
it.
him to have that.
Hey, buddy.
Huh?
It's okay.
Okay, you're on island. He'll be here in 2 minutes.
Look at that
Trust
car.
me.
Oh, my God.
Is that what that
Up
is?
to you,
A
man.
Yeah.
meth
Okay.
This is what she's smoking meth in.
Okay.
The raccoon's playing with her meth
That
pipe.
car has hepatitis.
The
written
raccoon.
all over
Where's my dope? Where's my dope,
Oh,
man?
there's no way. He's trying to smoke it.
All right.
Oh, God.
Next.
There's no way. All right. Enough fun and games.
Here.
Yeah.
Holy hell!
So for the audio,
That is
listeners,
lovely.
audio listeners, it's body cam again. He's leaning in the car and this fucking raccoon's holding this pipe like he's fucking Cheech or Chong, trying to smoke meth. But Springfield Township,
It's
Ohio.
not the first time that raccoon's handled it.
I'm pretty sure that's,
Yeah,
that's
they
probably
handled a crack pipe.
that's probably commonplace. But this Springfield Township is up by Cleveland, which I found because we have a Springfield.
Oh, that's
Township.
not the Springfield closer to here.
No, it's up toward Cleveland.
Yeah, because I mean that there's a bunch of old hippies, and a bunch. Oh God, a bunch of.
We've got one close to here, but police officer in Ohio was shocked to find a raccoon holding a meth pipe following its owner's arrest. According to Springfield Township Police Department on Monday evening, Officer Austin Branham conducted a traffic stop after identifying a vehicle whose owner had an active warrant and suspended license. During the stop, the officer detained the driver without incident. She was identified as 55-year-old Victoria Vidal. She looks like she's 85.
Wait, that gal's only 55. That gal right there.
Jesus Christ.
I thought she was like 70 something.
I was going to say 85.
Oh my God.
Oh, shit.
Don't do drugs, kids. I mean, really, don't.
But then things took an unusual turn when the officer turned to Vidal's vehicle. He saw a pet raccoon named Chewy sitting in the driver's seat with a meth pipe in his hands and mouth. Body cam shows the officer hardly being able to contain his laughter. I shit you not, come here, he tells the other responding officer. The raccoon has her meth pipe. He's playing with a meth pipe right now.
So that gal's bumping around in that filthy ass van with a raccoon for a pet.
Yeah. And
I mean, that's the same kind of person that would take a skunk into a hardware store.
we had this conversation.
I know, man. I mean, that's you can't do that kind of stuff. I had a guy once that a buddy of mine who had a raccoon as a pet. Stupidest thing ever. I said, Big Terry, man. I mean, you walk into his house and one corner he had a cage. He built a cage and went from floor to ceiling, and it was like 8 foot by 8 foot square. Had a big old tree trunk in there, and the raccoon's running around. He thinks, oh, this is great. No, it's not great. That raccoon's going to rip your face off sometime.
I do it. All right, so I think we've mended the fences for today, but he goes, show me the law says raccoons can't smoke meth. # raccoon rights. I agree. You know what?
There probably is no law about raccoons smoking meth.
Smoke it if you got it. But how funny is that?
That's pretty fun.
And the house that I own, not that I reside in, but the other house that I own, she's got a pet raccoon. And my new tenants have already realized that said raccoon is around. And I said, well, let your dog get it.
Wait, you're talking about the next door neighbor?
Yeah.
Yeah. Those raccoons are still around?
Yeah.
I remember that day we met your neighbor out there we were standing on the deck.
Yeah.
And she comes out, oh, you see my pet raccoons? I'm like, the nut job.
I said, well,
nut job.
And I told the tenants, I said, if your dog gets it, your dog gets it. It's not the dog's fault. If it's on the property that you're renting. I don't understand why people have pet raccoons. I don't get it. I had a buddy of mine in the bike club that had one.
No.
But I still didn't understand it or agree with it.
I mean, pets are.
It's funny to watch
dogs, pets
through a
cats.
video, but I don't want any part of that smoke.
I mean,
I want no part of that smoke.
I work with a guy who's got a turtle for a pet. I don't know how turtles can be a pet. I don't get it. But you know what else is in the news today? But apparently today is the deadline to get your real ID, so you can fly on airplanes. I guess you could get a passport and do stuff like that. I have not got mine yet.
You don't have yours?
No, and I'm in no hurry to get it either.
Well, you don't travel a whole bunch.
Well, but I do travel
or
from
you
time
drive,
to time.
or you
But
drive.
I prefer to drive, and I just might not get one
just because
I really it would be a great excuse to never get on an airplane again. Because traveling just sucks. I mean, every time in the last 3 or 4 years that I've gone somewhere, with the exception of one time, it has been almost an absolute nightmare. And so I don't want to subject. I would much rather spend, if I have the time, to spend 3 or 4 days in the car getting somewhere, or 12 hours, down to Florida, whatever, something like that.
Well, I mean, life is full of choices.
I know, but you recently traveled by air,
yeah,
and are you concerned at all about the safety when you travel by air?
No.
Given what we just found out what happened in Newark
a
couple of days ago.
I'm not, because I wouldn't even know that this is happening at the time. So
it's out of your control.
Ignorance is bliss. And if I'm flying in a big fucking fart tube, 20,000 feet or 30,000 feet over the earth.
Where's that term come from?
What?
Fart tube.
Fart tube? Because that's what it is.
Fart tube, is that?
Because people are disgusting and people shit. They throw fucking poo particles out, and you're stuck fucking having to deal with it because it goes all the way from the front to the back.
That's lovely.
It's
another reason why I don't want to fly.
Well, and that's fair.
I don't want to go on a cruise, and I'm not crazy about flying.
And that's fair.
Not because I'm afraid of flying. I mean, I spent a lot of time, flying around Cincinnati.
But in this instance, with what happened at Newark, and I'm sharing the screen now, and hopefully this plays the way I was anticipating.
Classic right there.
I'm going to move you here because I just got told that the approach lost all the radar. 3 of the 4 radar screens went black, and no frequencies.
All right, we're ready to move. 2346.
There'll be some silence in between the transmissions, just so you know.
No, I'd say hold your position.
2346, whoever else is on frequency. I guess this is a serious issue because I have one more arrival, and now I have nobody else coming inbound.
Okay, shut down.
They lost 3 radar scopes went black. They lost all the radios at approach.
3 radar scopes gone.
They say you lost radios too?
And radios.
I would shut one down. 2343 is the only one that needs to keep those running. 323U as well. If you guys want to shut one down, that's fine. But once the first guy gets on the runway, everyone else will be ready.
Well, at least it sounds like that controller's got his shit together.
Everyone that is on my frequency, if you like, you can shut down. They're going to give me some sort of warning before we're released. 2343, like I said, you are first. So if you want to keep one running, that's fine. But everyone else can shut down.
Okay, thanks.
So you're telling them to shut down their engines?
Hey, 2343, keep you updated. The approach just told me that a couple techs went in, looked at the radar scope, and walked out. They think it's going to be a light delay.
Okay, thanks for that. Looking at 2343.
So, I mean, we can stop it. I mean, it goes on, but it was 90 seconds of essentially blackout. I didn't hear when you were asking that question. I didn't hear exactly what he said, but
it sounded like he was telling, airplanes I guess airplanes that were getting ready to taxi out or that were on, on the apron or whatever to shut down their engines.
Yeah.
And the one guy said, keep one running because you're next.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Get you out of here sometime, but.
Yeah. So keep one. Yeah. Because it's easier to fire up the other one if you keep one running.
Right.
But I'm going to say between 911 dispatchers and air traffic controllers, there's not enough money in the world to pay me to do that. Hearing that guy, like you said, he was very, very calm. But I love hearing, and it always makes me giggle every time I fly, is, the pilots, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be going to altitude of 33,000 feet. Appreciate you guys flying Delta. And it's always like, but here
they want to present that calm. You want your pilot to be calm and cool and collected, and
instead of going, holy shit, we got some bad shit going on.
No, you don't want to hear that.
But no, I think that air traffic controller handled it well. But 90 seconds. I mean, that's a long fucking time to not know where your planes are. You're responsible for these planes that are up in the air. If you ever,
would that be the same thing as?
Did you ever watch the movie? Was it Pushing 10 with Billy Bob Thornton?
Yeah, I've seen that. Yeah,
that's exactly what I imagine when I'm taking off in a plane. I'm like, there's some motherfucker that is so high on speed and fucking caffeine saying, "You're a go, you're a go." That's exactly what I think about.
But Sean Duffy, the Secretary of Transportation, has been out there talking about how the system is antiquated. I mean, he did a thing on Fox News this morning.
Oh, it's all like analog.
Talking about how they're still using floppy disks. I mean, imagine it. You got a computer with a floppy disk in it? No. So, but they're still doing that. They're still using outdated radios and the systems that they have in place. They might have been state of the art at the time, but
they're Cincy, you motherfucker. You're making me show comments that are actually good.
Well,
we'll be in Hudson.
Maybe we're going to change Cincy 513. He's going to come around to our way of thinking.
He pulled a Sully. We'll be in Hudson. I love it. That's fucking perfect. Thank you, sir. And he also said, and just for Pappas, because they'll watch this later. Speaking of fart tubes, where's Pappas?
I'm going to drop that on him next time he shows up for a podcast. You fart tube.
But no, like
that's pretty good.
As you're in the air, I mean, you don't know any of that shit's going on. The fucking pilots are freaking the fuck out, going, all right, we're going to stay in the air as long as we can. How much fuel do we have?
Yeah.
This
doesn't look good.
Oh, this is getting tight. we might have to put it down in the Hudson. but no, the way those guys do their work is absolutely astounding to me.
Have you ever been up in an air traffic control tower?
Yes, one time.
And like watch those guys when they're doing all their shit.
It was, for whatever reason, it was a weird fucking like 7th or 8th grade school.
Which one did you go to, Lunkin?
CVG.
CVG, yeah.
There was a lot of shit. There's a lot of shit going on
there. There's a lot of shit going on there. I went up. We had the chance. I went up with Lewis up into the Lunkins, and then we went.
Or our buddy Mark, who's been on here.
Yeah, and then we went up to CVG one day. And I mean, you talk about it's such a foreign environment if you don't have any familiarity with it. And I mean, and there's so much stuff going on. And there's especially a CVG. And they got the little things that are.
That's our big airport here.
And I mean, and they got around here. And they're actually taking these pieces of paper and putting them in like a cigar tube, and then shoving them down this plastic tube that runs down, like 7 stories below, and someone catches it down there. I'm like, wait a minute. And, when we were there, it was like 2019 or something. Like, wait, this is the best you got.
It's almost like fucking string in a tin can. And fucking was it Lloyd?
That's the way they do
Lloyd
it.
Bridges. I picked the wrong day to quit sniffing glue.
But I asked the guy about it. He said, "Hey, they've been doing this way since the 1940s. If it ain't broke, don't fix it." I guess. But Duffy was on saying they got radars that are still, they're like World War II era radars.
Yeah.
That they're still using, which number one tells you how well they built those fucking things if they're still using them.
Yeah.
But I would imagine the radar that they could build today might be a little bit better.
Aviation, because I want to get my pilot's license, and with me getting my drone pilot license, and I've been watching a bunch of videos and training videos and this, try to figure it out. It is very antiquated. It is so antiquated comparatively to where we could be, where we're doing this. We're live streaming to people across the fucking country right now.
Well, that's one of the things I love about the Trump administration. They want to update everything. Sean Duffy is working on updating the FAA control towers and all that.
Oh,
Pete Hegseth.
Now you're gonna turn Cincy 513.
Pete Hegseth is concerning himself with updating the military, and here's part of a speech that he gave to some individuals the other day. Let's hear what Pete Hegseth had to say. I like this cut.
No more pronouns. No more climate change obsession. No more emergency vaccine mandates. No more dudes in dresses. We're done with that shit.
we're done.
That's what I voted for right there. Yes. No more dudes in dresses. We're done with that shit. I love that. I mean, you can't get any more plain spoken than that. That is fantastic. There's a piece of Soviet space junk that's going to be coming down over the next several days. Have you heard about this?
Ooh, I've not heard about this.
Yeah, it's an uncontrolled reentry. When back in my Fox 19 days, there was part of the Mir space station that was going to. You remember that when the Mir space station was going to come crashing down to Earth?
Oh yeah.
And I brought hard hats in for everyone on the set, and it had a Mir. I wrote the words Mir with the symbol with one of the red lines through it, and it was so we all put the hard hats on that day. That was pretty fun. I was thinking about doing the same thing here.
Oh, shit, you should have.
But AccuWeather says the Soviet spacecraft may crash into Earth possibly somewhere in the contiguous U.S. between May 9th and May 11th. So what's today? May 7th.
7th. Oh.
So in 2 days from
everybody
now,
keep looking up.
You got to be on high alert.
Yeah. Keep your head on a swivel.
The spacecraft is Cosmos 482, launched in 1972 on a voyage to Venus. But an issue trapped it in orbit around Earth.
Launched in 72?
1972.
Wow.
But it never made it to Venus. It's been circling Earth
7
since
years before I
1972.
was born, Dan.
Yeah. So
How old were you then?
Well, I was born before 1970.
I know. How old were you then?
I think I was 9.
9?
Yes.
Holy shit balls.
Well,
that's amazing. That's amazing.
Let me see. Because the probe was designed to withstand entry into Venus's atmosphere, it's possible the probe or parts of it will survive re-entry into Earth. It's an uncontrolled re-entry. So the spacecraft could hit anywhere between Africa, South America, the contiguous U.S., Australia, New Zealand, pretty much anywhere on the globe.
It could hit Earth.
Right.
That's what they're saying. It could hit Earth somewhere.
But they always put this line in there, or it could hit the ocean. The ocean is probably the biggest target. So there's but getting hit by this thing, you probably got a better chance of winning the lottery, but still.
That fucker got launched in 72.
Keep your eye. That was supposed to go to Venus. Never made it. Got stuck in Earth orbit.
How it got stuck in
Cosmos 482.
I like to think that I'm fairly versed in some space stuff, but so it never made it out of Earth's orbit.
Made it out
from
of Earth
1972 to 2025.
Yeah.
It never made it out of Earth's orbit.
No. And it's been orbiting that entire time, and every time it goes around, it gets infinitesimally closer to Earth.
It just didn't have enough oomph to get past.
So here we are, 52 years later?
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. Well, it was Soviet shit. Even though they put the first man and woman in space.
And monkey.
And a monkey.
And a monkey.
They kicked our ass in the early days of the space race.
Wow.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
So there you go. So a piece of space junk.
My head will be on a swivel.
Is on its way back.
From the 9th to the 11th.
Yeah.
I will be looking up every time I walk outside.
All right. Are you concerned at all about the Epstein files?
I want to see
Jeffrey Epstein.
I want to see him.
So Pam Bondi kind of shit the bed.
I am bullshit.
A couple of months ago when she said, "Oh yeah, the files are coming out. They're doing the final redactions." Well,
see, look, we're agreeing. We're agreeing on some shit.
They still haven't come out, and so now she is saying today she did a news conference today. Here's what she said today.
I did not see that.
She said the FBI is still reviewing tens of thousands of child porn videos that were in the possession of Jeffrey Epstein. Epstein, of course, the official line is he committed suicide.
He got Clinton.
Yeah, back in 2019. Bondi was asked about the delay in releasing the documents pertaining to Epstein by a reporter during the press conference on Wednesday. She says the FBI, they're reviewing. Imagine if that's your job with the FBI.
Oh, God. Ugh.
You've got to here's all the Epstein child porn videos. So there are tens of thousands of videos of Epstein with children or child porn is what she said.
It's fucking disgusting.
And there are hundreds of victims. No one victim will ever get released. It's just the volume. She said it's the volume that they're going through right now. So she didn't put a timeline on it of when all this stuff is going to come out. But she said that's what's happening now. Because, people were saying, look, you said a couple of months ago that the Epstein files were going to come out.
People are pissed off. I'm pissed off. Trump supporter.
Yeah, I'm not holding my breath on it.
I support the cabinet that he brought in, but don't say you're going to release something and then not do it.
Yeah, that's not good.
So that's fair, Cincy. We can agree there.
So yeah, but I had no idea there are that many child porn videos.
Oh,
just imagine if you're an FBI agent and you got to watch all that shit.
The amount of therapy, amount of therapy that you fucking need.
It's terrible, man.
Gross.
God bless him. Gross. You want to see something gross?
Oh boy.
As we get ready to close out the podcast today, we're going to leave you with.
I have no idea where we're.
This is one of the worst things I've ever seen.
Where are we going at?
The video I sent you. This is funny. Go ahead and play this one.
What was the gross one?
The gross one was the guy down by the river.
Oh,
you know that one?
I have to make sure I have it.
Because I sent it to you. Hold on.
But this one's funny.
We show the people with the funny hats.
Protesters in Switzerland staged an anti-Trump march wearing giant middle finger hats.
Giant middle finger. We got to get one of those.
Protesters in Swetzerland staged an anti-Trump march wearing giant middle finger hats.
We got to get one. Look at those hats.
We should go to our next golf outing. wearing
those. Big fuck you.
Wearing those.
That is hilarious.
I do have that video.
Boy, that's really going to send a message to the Trumpster, you think? He's going to get one, and it's going to say right there on the middle finger is going to say "Make America Great Again."
I'm sure he is super concerned about where the fuck was that at?
Cincy 513. I bet he'd rock one of those.
He'd rock one.
All right, but we're gonna look. If I had to see this earlier today, you have to see it now.
Oh,
and
you guys are all welcome. By the way,
I'm done with the podcast after this.
You guys are
one more, and I'm out of here.
When are we going? When are we going again?
I don't know. Saturday. So when's Papa's going to be back? When's that fart tube going to be back?
Fart tube will be back Thursday. So maybe potentially Saturday before the outing.
Yeah, Saturday's going to be tough for me. Maybe Sunday.
All right.
Maybe Friday. I don't know.
Let's plan on Sunday.
All right.
Tentatively.
All right. So what is this? Like a turd herder? Is that what that is?
Oh, it's fucking something. It's fucking gross.
And there goes that shit. And here's a gentleman downstream, and he's got a big can, a little bit like a 5-gallon can.
And he literally is downstream.
Oh, that's refreshing. That feels good on a hot day.
He is literally downstream.
This is like 20 feet away.
Let's watch it again.
Oh my God, this is horrible.
Just take all of that in.
Just horrible. Look at the people. Dude, don't do it.
Oh my God.
I hope he's not drinking any of that on the way down.
Oh my God, that's so
get a little
gross.
refreshment.
That's so disgusting.
Sometimes I just want to douse myself in some cool, clear water.
I just need to cool off. In shit.
That is horrible.
In shit water.
That is horrible. I'd rather be a fart tube.
Ladies and gentlemen, we appreciate you being here as always.
That was fun.
We love the chats. Thank you. Sorry I didn't acknowledge as many of you as I should have, but remember to download, rate, review, and get your friends to subscribe. And we will be back hopefully, potentially on Sunday.
Are we going to shoot a little video at the Varner fundraiser?
Yes, we will
Okay.
definitely.
We'll have a little something from there.
We'll definitely put a video out for Varner and the Varner Foundation.
Yeah.
On Saturday.
Maybe with a special guest, Solomon Wilcots.
Oh, we'll get Solly.
That'll be good. Get Solly. He can't go wrong. Can't go wrong with Solly on the show.
Absolutely.
That's fact.
But no, Sunday will be a regular episode. We'll make sure it happens. But we love you guys. Thank you so much for your support, and we'll see you Sunday.